Hello, everyone. Welcome. I am Samantha Weisbeck. I'm the owner and general manager here at Dancewear Center, and I am joined by a very special guest today. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves.
Cool. Yeah. Hi, I'm Andrea Hines. I'm one of the newest Dancewear Center ambassadors. I'm so excited to be here. This is so much fun.
I know we're going to have a good time today. So first things first, we want to hear a little bit about you. Can you tell us a little bit about your dancing journey?
Yeah, so I have been dancing for a very long time. I've been dancing almost 20 years now. I started my training at Tacoma City Ballet, and that's just kind of where I fell in love with ballet. And I am a classically ballet trained dancer. So that's just where my heart is, where my soul is. So I danced there for a few years. And when I realized that I really wanted to take this seriously, I transferred over to Evergreen City Ballet. That was in 2001. And back then, we were still located in Auburn. That's where kind of our roots were. So I was there under the direction of our former and founding artistic director, Wade Walthall. So I danced there until 2013, which is when I graduated from high school. So I literally started as a little baby, level one, and went all the way through their performance division level. And once I got to graduating high school, I wanted to pursue other things, see what else was out there in the world. So I went to college. I went to Central Washington University for music education, funny enough. So I got to college. I did one semester there and I was like, this isn't for me. And I dropped out. I moved to California just to see what was out there, just again to kind of find myself a little bit. Wasn't doing the dance thing at all. I moved there with my at the time boyfriend, who is now my husband. We got engaged and married while we were living there. Decided it was time for us to come back to Washington, and we moved back to Seattle in 2019. And when I moved back, the first thing I thought of was I need to get back into dance. I've been out for too long. And so I came back and I was just trying to see, not even necessarily wanting to get back into dancing per se, but just to see how I could involve myself and how I could help just with what they needed. So I joined ECB again in 2019 as the volunteer coordinator. And from there, I was still kind of nervous about taking class. I was like, it's been a while since I've been dancing. So when I got back into things and seeing a lot more of the administrative side of the arts, I really became passionate about it. And so I was like, I want to be able to find a way to involve myself even more. So then in 2021, I was appointed to their board of directors, which I am still on now. And around that time was also when I felt brave enough to start taking open classes. So I kind of just was seeing what was around, not only at ECB, but just seeing how the Seattle dance scene has changed, anything like that. So, especially after I got pregnant in 2020, August 2021. And then I gave birth to my beautiful baby boy in April 2022. And at that point as well, I had already been taking classes again. I took class all throughout my pregnancy, up until my third trimester when I was put on bed rest. And it took me about a year to finally feel okay about pursuing ballet semi full-time again. And at that time, I made a vow to myself. It was actually Nutcracker last year. I was like, my goal by this time next year is to do Nutcracker again. And so January 1st hit, I was like, get my booty back in the studio. So I started taking class, not only at ECB, but I also started taking class at Northwest Ballet Center. And then I also was taking class at Dance Conservatory Seattle with Joshua Grant. And so I just really got back into the swing of things, somehow managing mom life. I also work a regular 9 to 5 full-time job. And then also just trying to figure out with my schedule how I'm going to fit in these ballet classes, but I was committed. I wanted to do it. I just had this drive and this fire inside of me to get back into dancing and just have that movement in my body again. So that's kind of the winding road to where I am now. So since I started dancing again in January, I had a really great opportunity to perform in Dance Conservatory Seattle's spring performance in June. And that was my first time back on stage. after 12 years. So that was really fun. We just did a contemporary piece with the other adults who wanted to dance in that performance. And then I am cast in Evergreen City Ballet's Nutcracker for this year doing, I'm going to be Granny and party parent. And then I'm also going to be doing Snow and Flowers. So that's kind of takes us to where we are today.
That's so exciting. Yeah, it's so cool to see. Like, I think it's just another testament to like, you can always come back to it. Like, I think we get a lot of parents, even in the story, that are bringing their kids in. They're like, I really miss it. I'm like, you can go back. You can absolutely do this. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah, 100%. Very cool. So can you share with us a little bit about why you applied to be an ambassador?
Yeah, so a big thing for me, especially like figuring out what it means to be a dancer again, but also what it means to be a mom. It really just stemmed from wanting to get back into shape on my own terms. And so I want to be able to share that same experience with maybe other moms who are past dancers or are trying to find a different outlet for exercise, who don't love the typical gym experience. Just because it is, obviously once we give birth, no matter if you did it traditionally or if you had a C-section or anything like that, your body obviously changes. You grew this human inside of you for 10 months and you're like, okay, I was this big whale and now I'm trying to figure out how to get that. Then there's a lot of pressure, like, unfortunately, for us to bounce back quickly. And that just doesn't always happen. And so it can be really discouraging to like, see on social media, like, oh, this mom was back in the gym after 6 weeks after giving birth. And it's just not realistic. And so I want to be able to share my journey of what it meant for me to get back into the swing of things on my own terms and hopefully help other moms or other parents feel the same way.
I love that. Yeah, that's super important. And kind of like we're talking about kind of like your journey now, but like just like in general, and maybe this has changed over the years, but what is your favorite thing about dance? Maybe now, currently.
Oh man. Well, I forgot to mention in my little introduction, I luckily have been given the chance to teach as well. So I teach over at Body Language Studios, and then I also do teach at Evergreen City Ballet. So I think just my favorite part is just being able to take the knowledge that I have and I would say maybe just like word vomit it out to the students now. And especially after COVID, and just seeing how all that happened with like virtual classes and everything, it is really interesting to see the difference of body awareness in different levels of dancers. And so I always tell my dancers as well, like the corrections that I give and the different advice that I give during class are the corrections that I see the most in myself. And so I try and really meet them where they are. I don't ask them to, give overly as much as I would be able to do. So I'm not good if I'm feeling some sort of way, I'm obviously going to expect them to kind of get over that a little bit, but also like I want to meet them where they're at and be with them in solidarity. So if I'm not feeling some sort of way, if I feel like I can't do 32 changements in a row, I'm not going to ask them to do 32 changements in center.
Cool. So kind of like your favorite thing right now is like kind of spinning like all of the like taking everything that you've accumulated over the years and then being able to like impart it into
Yeah.
the next generation. That's
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
next generations. It's so cool. Yeah. And then kind of like so on the flip side, then what has been maybe your biggest challenge in the sphere of dance?
Hmm. I think the biggest challenge has been having a conversation with myself of like, the expectation is not for you to get to like where maybe like you were when you were 16 years old. So it's just the biggest challenge has been to give myself grace on like, oh, I was able to do quadruple pirouettes back in the day and now I can't do it now. I wonder why. And just giving myself grace. And there's a conversation that you have to have with your younger self of being like, as you get older, the expectation isn't for you to like dance as if you were a professional, especially given that I took almost 12 years off of dancing. And so it's not going to happen right away. And I think, yeah, the biggest thing is not being that perfectionist of like my turnout and my feet are not going to be where they were 12, 13 years ago. So I think that's the biggest thing of just like giving yourself that grace and also accepting that it's not going to be perfect right away.
And you're kind of already touching on this. So my next question is just, what advice would you give to other dancers that are struggling with the same thing? And you're kind of touching on it, but is there anything additional that you would say?
Yeah, I think a lot of the time, especially in the last maybe like 10 years of dance, there has been a big culture of, comparing yourself to others or like, oh, this person is darning their point shoes, so I should darn my point shoes because then they can balance super well. Everyone's body is different. Every body is still a dancing body, but also don't try and hold yourself up to these high expectations of like, oh, I need to be in a harder shank so I can dance like Natalia Osipova. Like, no, you don't need to do that. You just love the body that you have now and work with what you have.
So true. I love it. Well, so last but not least, so you kind of already touched on this earlier, but like what's coming up for you in the near future? You're teaching, are you hosting any workshops? When are you performing? When can we come see you?
Yeah, so I currently teach 2 days a week. I teach at Body Language Studios. I teach their upper division, their technique class, as well as a point variations class. And then I also teach our highest levels at Evergreen City Ballet. If anyone wants to come take, you are more than welcome to. We also have open classes at Evergreen City Ballet on Saturdays for any adults who are wanting to dip their toes in the water of getting back into ballet. I am there most days as well, trying to also dip my toes in there. And then, yeah, like I mentioned, I'm performing in ECB's Nutcracker. We are performing in Auburn from December 8th to the 10th, and then Renton IKEA Performing Arts Center the following weekend, the Friday through Saturday or Friday through Sunday then.
So the 15th through the 17th.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. That's so cool. I'm so excited.
Yay. I'm excited too.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for sharing with everyone. For everybody who's out there watching now, if you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments and we will see you next time.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Bye.